Howdy do, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and if you're new to this video, which is a high chance after yesterday's video blew up unexpectedly, this is a League of Legends channel that primarily focuses on Jinx, but also League stuff in general. Appreciate y'all for stopping in and hitting that subscribe button on Tuesday's video. It's a fun meme, by the way, and I want to just iterate real quick before I get into this particular video that I first saw that meme by Hugo Yogurt. By the way, they've actually made several memes, not just with that video, Transformers videos, period. If you're really interested in that, that might be the channel to go check out. Every Wednesday, what this particular channel does is we go over, things to do with Jinx and especially patches when they drop. Patch 13.12 has dropped in League of Legends, and we're going to talk about it, and then something of like an AD carry tier list afterwards, made by you guys in the comment section down below, based off of your elo, or in some cases, just based off of your opinion. So I wanted to do that longer intro because that video, as I'm recording it, has done 123,000 views, and there's a lot of y'all that have come in. And I want to say welcome, and thank you if you tend to stay. And let's get on with the video now. With that being said, with patch 13.12, we have no Jinx nerfs or buffs, but there's so many item changes and so many other AD carry changes that it might affect Jinx's lane matchups. That might change, and then Jinx might also get some changes indirectly because of some of these items being buffed and nerfed. We'll get into all of that one by one. So for example, the first AD carry, Ashe, the passive bonus damage increased, W damage increased, R damage increased, with the bonus damage on the passive going up to 120% from 115%. The volley, which is a good poking method in laning phase, going up by 10, 25, 40, 55, and 70 to 20, 35, 50, 65, and 80, which is, a lot, especially when you add damaging items on top of that. And then of course the R enchanted crystal arrow is going up with AP, which really doesn't mean much because Ashe is an AD kind of a champion of the two different ability powered physical damage. If you're feeling kind of frisky, if you're feeling kind of risky and you want to play some AP Ashe sometimes, or you're playing like support Ashe maybe, so you can get away with it, a little bit of extra damage on the enchanted arrow never hurt nobody except for the person that it's hitting, because they're probably kind of dead. With terms of the Jinx and Ashe matchup then, the funny thing about this is, truth be told, Ashe is one of those AD carries where you fight and they slow you because of the way their auto attacks work, stuff too, and if they go to the W max and poking with the W, it can be very annoying. But one thing, and not even just as Jinx, really as anybody, if you're dealing with Ashe and they're just poking you, you can use the minion waves to block them. Some abilities go through minion waves, Ashe's volley is not one of them. You can use that to your advantage. Otherwise, when it comes to the rest of the changes, they're going to hurt a bit more on the passive here, more so than the ultimate. But yeah, I got nothing. It can be really annoying. If you need to, just run, flee. Sometimes, denying the enemy a kill is the move. Kai'Sa's AD growth is being increased, with the attack damage growth going from 2 to 2.6, which will scale over time and will probably feel good, especially with their evolution. It looks like that's part of why they're doing this change. If you've never played Kai'Sa before at all, basically to get her evolved abilities, you have to build usually like an item and a half, and it can be kind of annoying to kind of have to leave and you're like right there almost about to evolve an ability, but you still need like some more gold to get another component. So by doing this change, it looks like what will happen is, instead, when you actually finally complete an entire item, you'll be able to actually evolve and have that adaptive instead of having to wait till level 11, which for a Kai'Sa player is going to feel really good. For a Jinx player, that can kick rocks entirely. When does Fishbones like get to evolve or something like that? When can he become like Whale Bones or something like that, right? And we need to have an understanding. Come closer real quick, all right? What about the Flame Chompers being able to be adaptive, right? In the cinematic, she throws those suckers and blows up robots with them. We can't, we throw them out, but we kind of toss them out. And it's usually why we're fleeing for our lives for whatever reason. You know what I mean? Okay, we're going to back up now. Anyways, so with that being said, the Kai'Sa Jinx matchup in the laning phase, she's going to hurt like a little bit extra in the laning phase, especially pre-items. But once that first item comes in, if it's still laning phase, like level 9 to 11, that can be something to look out for. Is suddenly the Q, instead of doing like 6, will shoot 12 missiles, or for some reason they're doing the W, which is more for AP Kai'Sa and ARAM, but you know what I mean? Like that adaptive spike is going to come slightly earlier. Be aware of that. You should outrange Kai'Sa with your rocket launcher, even though it's not Whale Bones. Kog'Maw's getting nerfed, actually, despite the fact that he's getting a skin. His W-based damage is being decreased, so he's still Kog'Maw tier. As Jinx and as anybody, you still beat Kog'Maw. Lucian, brother Lucian. Passive damage decreased, activation conditions adjusted. Now, Lucian's fun, but one of the reasons he's really powerful right now, according to Riot, is that enchanters are also powerful, and so they're proccing his passive conditions quite well and quite easily and quite often. So by making it a change where it has to be procced, I believe, by instead when he's healed or shielded specifically, it should decrease the amount of times that is activated, basically. And so that should, in a way, balance out his passive, where a lot of his damage and dueling potential comes from. Will it actually matter? Yes, because enchanters are still in flavor right now. But it's also good for Jinx because a lot of people like playing with enchanters as Jinx because they shield and protect Jinx, which covers some of her weaknesses of being immobile and needing to scale into that late game, which is kind of fun. You know what I mean? It's kind of what the other, I did 2 of those meme videos, for example. This one blew up. The other one on the other channel was actually about that very thing. When you get fed and scale into the late game, it's great. And unless you never make it, then it's horrible. It's depression. As is League of Legends. In terms of the Jinx and Lucian matchup, if you're dealing with enchanters, that actually can possibly proc about the same amount that it's been procking. Even with the passive damage decreased, just look out for that because Jinx isn't really built to trade with Lucian. She's built to try and outscale Lucian. Speaking of some supports, the base armor decreased on Lulu and the passive magic damage is being decreased and the E-shield value is being increased. So the armor might be going down to 26, but it looks like the E-shield value is being increased. So whether it's Lucian, Jinx, whatever your favorite AD carry is, that's going to be nice. But it also means if you're playing against Lulu, because they're a bit squishier and you're an AD carry, which does physical damage, and Lulu's armor is going down, Lulu might be a little bit squishier to pop. So if you're playing like with a Leona, for example, and Leona goes in on the Lulu, it might be worth targeting Lulu, especially if it's pre-6 and she doesn't have her ultimate, because you might be able to actually pop her like a balloon. Maybe. She's not like Sona squishy. Let's not get carried away here. No one is Sona squishy. But at the same time, being a little bit more squishy, it might not feel that bad if you have to end up turning on Lulu and trying to blow her up instead, right? We've all had those moments where we've outsmarted the enemy Lulu with our support and made them use the wild growth on their AD carry and not themselves. And now they're even more squishy. That could be nice. But it does mean if you're playing with a Lulu, she might be playing a little safer because she also has less armor against something like a Lucian since you're playing Jinx, or even a Caitlyn, right? Stuff like that. Melio, base armor decreased, armor growth decreased, passive empowered attack damage decreased. It looks like there's a lot of nerfs across the board. Kind of the same hit points as Lulu. Looks like the armor's going down. The base armor's also being decreased. They're basically going to be a bit more squishier. So if you're playing with one, they're a bit more squishier as Jinx. If you're playing against one as Jinx, they're a bit more squishier. That can feel nice. Rel. We'll briefly talk about Rel because I feel like some of these changes, especially when it comes to W mount up monster damage being adjusted and stuff, are actually catered towards jungle Rel, which makes sense why Gamma has been playing jungle Rel, because it looks like some of these changes have been looking for support and jungle as well. So they can be, I'll just name them and then you can decide for yourself how you feel about them. Default adaptive stat change, Q cast time decreased, damage decreased, monster damage adjusted, W crash down damage decreased, monster damage adjusted, W mount up monster damage adjusted, E damage decreased, monster damage adjusted, damage capped to monsters added. So there's a damage capped to monsters, damage to monsters it looks like it was adjusted, in some cases maybe even increased, but damage overall looks like it's been decreased. So the quote unquote better Leona overall looks like she's getting a bit of a nerfs, but probably still going to be tanky, even if they're not now the better Leona. So keep that in mind if you're playing with one or against one in the bottom lane as Jinx. Server's attack damage growth is being decreased, but the W bounce damage is being increased. So as Jinx, what you want to make sure to do more than ever is stay out of the minion wave, because the ricochet can bounce through the minion wave to your support, to you, bounce a check even while it's on the way out, while you guys collapse to the floor dead. It can be deceptively really good if you don't know how to get out of an area where it can bounce around at. So make sure you do that, even if the attack damage growth is being decreased, which you would think would be good, right, for trading in lane. That means it gives Jinx a bit of an advantage. That's how that works. One person's getting nerfed, the other one's not. But at the same time, a lot of the damage can come off of ricochet, so just be careful about that. Yuumi exists. Also, Yuumi's bonus attack speed is decreased and the R heal per hit is being decreased, so Yuumi really also doesn't exist. Zeri. Zeri's actually getting a lot of buffs. Movement speed increased, passive removed, Q damage or Q passive added in its place, Q no longer activates Sheen, E critical strike multiplier increased. Basically Zeri. Zeri's back, and Zeri hurts, including hurting Jinx. Bloodthirster's cost is going up by 200 gold, meanwhile the attack damage on Gale Force is going down by 5. However, Phantom Dancer's attack speed is going up by 35, however Rapid Fire Cannon's energized damage is going from 60 to 140 based on level to just 60 flat. Static Shiv, meanwhile's energized damage is going up from 80 to 190 at levels 7 through 18 to 100 to 180 at levels 6 through 18. And then Overheal, its shield value is going from 20 to 300 based on level to just 11% of maximum health, and AD carries tend to be a lot more squishier, so 11% of your max health might not feel like that much. Maybe like, what, 100 by late game? Because what does Jinx get to, about 1900 HP? 1924 HP late game. So like an extra 192 health isn't bad. Honorable mentions to Hangshai Scrolls Bard, Hangshai Scrolls Kog'Maw, Hangshai Scrolls Lilia, Hangshai Scrolls Tahm Kench, and Crystallis, Modus, Leona. Especially Leona, Tahm Kench, Kog'Maw, and Bard are all bottom lane champions, so you might play with and against some Bards and Tahm Kench's supports, and even Leona for that matter. and you might be playing against some Kog'Maw AD carries, at least for the first couple days of the patch, because people probably want to play these skins. If they have these skins, they do look beautiful, and I'm probably going to make the thumbnail out of them. So with that being said, AD carry tier list, mainly by your opinion in the comment section down below, but my quick notes, if you want my own opinion on certain champions, is this. The Zeri change will be interesting. I think Zeri's been nerfed quite a bit, that they feel like they can finally buff her back. I say Zeri's back, but maybe they actually found a way to balance her, so she might be back in viability, but not back at like the top bannable AD carry in the game, which will feel good. Silver's changes are actually pretty good if there's a lot of team fighting going on. So if you're a Silver player, good luck with that. If you're a Jinx player, watch out in team fights for grouping too close. I don't know how that would move Silver up or down in the list for you, but there you go. I feel like the Lucian changes are also pretty interesting because enchanters are still powerful. So I feel like Lucian doesn't move. Obviously, it's a nerf, sure, but unless enchanters also fall out the meta, he's still going to probably be okay because he's probably going to get shielded and healed by his enchanter allies quite a bit. Kog'Maw still Kog'Maw tier. Probably even worse Kog'Maw tier now because he got nerfed, even though he's getting a skin. Kai'Sa's a nice one because it's just going to feel good. It's more of a quality of life change, though, so I feel Kai'Sa also stays the same. Ashe is the one that moves up a tier. From whatever tier you have her at, I personally would move her up a tier. These are pretty good, especially for the utility she can also bring, right? Because she's a utility AD carry that's also doing damage. That's going to feel good. That's going to be all for this video from me. Again, thank you all the new people that are coming in, that came in from the meme video. If you'd like to stick around, I appreciate it. But again, Hugo Yogurt is where that video idea came from, and he makes a ton of others, or she or they, however they go by. So go check them out, and make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification, the actual subscribe button. But I don't know which video will be next, because I finna have a lot of kinks. So until next time, take care. GG get jinxed. Thank you for watching, and enjoy pizza responsibly.